Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you found your way here. I hope you click like, subscribe, and share. And sorry that I'm running late, but I had to do some checking in to see certain things and check into certain things. So in any case, this week we're going to have a look at what's happening in Minneapolis. That is the topic of the hour, and how that might work out, how that, will what it will lead to. And we'll also have a look at the question of, is it all a psyop? Okay, so we're going to dive deep today, and then I'll get to your questions at the end. As always, at the top, I have the link booked. So if you would like to book your question for me to answer it, then if you have a question that you would like me to answer, the link to book it is all the way at the top. It's pinned at the top. So just click on that, go through the steps, write your question. It'll pop up on my end and I'll answer it. But first, let's dive into the craziness of our world today. And welcome to Hello Carlene. Welcome to my channel. All right. So let's see here. Ooh, there is what is happening? What is happening? Hey, so slowly things are coming in. All right. Slowly things are happening. Good morning to the other side of the world. All right. So let's dive in. And what is the topic today? Well, Minneapolis and Minnesota and the WEF, the meetings there, the Board of Peace, all the things that are shifting and changing in our world today. The speech of Mark Carney and of the German Chancellor Merz, who both referred to a new era and a new time that is now coming. The old era is now gone. And the era that we had was based on ideology. So all the institutions that were created, all the solutions that were found were based on an ideological mindset where people thought, how can we do it better? How can we solve the problems of the world by wanting good, desiring good? And so they created this concept or this ideology. Of course, we can debate and we can dig deep and we can realize they didn't really want good and blah, blah, blah. But on the surface, right? Because what's coming now, the system that is coming now, is not based on any ideology. That is what some economic researchers have been saying. It's not ideology that's leading us forward, and that's what making it so scary. It's cost and deduction, right? It's looking at debts, managing debt management and what needs to happen, because the US, as we know, is deep, deep, deep into debts, and the decisions that are being made based on that, and not because they necessarily want to make the world a better place. It wants to make the world a better place for themselves, clearly, but from the basis of debt management, not from injustice and inequality, which is the world that we had tried to build after World War II. So there's a lot happening as this all fractures and falls apart. And for those of you that don't know, the last couple of days there was the WEF meeting in Davos, Switzerland, and there were a couple of speeches that were held that were quite interesting. And stuff came from Elon Musk, who stated that he sees a future. I don't know if he's just saying this to trigger people or what he's doing, but he sees a future where there will be more robots than human beings because everybody's going to have a robot for every little thing, and there are going to be more robots than human beings in the world, and we have to basically prep for that. Then, which is absolutely bizarre to even think about and why anyone would want that. But anyways, and then there was the speech of Mark Carney, which was really interesting, in which, people said it was the speech of the hour and so on and so forth, where he directly spoke about the past. And he said that the past is gone and there's no need for us to dwell in nostalgia and try to get that old regime back or that old system back because it is gone. And now the smaller countries have to look out for themselves and each other because if they don't have a seat at the table or a vote or a voice at the table, then that means they're on the menu. And so they really are showing that there's a kind of a new, I don't even want to call it colonialism. It just feels like this overtaking energy, this mouth that just gobbles up everything in its way. It's like the Borg, right? Literally, that's what I was feeling, the Borg. Wherever they pass through, they kind of integrate everything into itself. And the US is kind of turning into that. And slowly but surely, they want to annex Canada. They want to take over Greenland. They want to take over the entire, as I've stated in the last video, it's about a corridor. It's about the entire North and South American continent and middle Latin America, of course, within that. And the entire Atlantic and that side of the Pacific area. And that's their investment, but they also want to keep a hold on Europe. And so they've even though they're saying that they're pushing Europe away, they're doing a lot of instigating over here and pushing things in a certain direction, which will end up benefiting them. And but they're not willing to pour more funds or money into Europe. And so it's interesting because Europe was always a kind of a forward base, if you want to call it that, right? In their operations against Russia, Europe was a significant buffer and a place where they could build their bases, keep their weapons. But after World War II, they also created Germany to become the biggest, one of the biggest, yeah, if not the biggest American market worldwide, right? So everything here in Germany is tied into the US in some way, shape, or form. So this pulling apart, it's almost like a Siamese twin, like pulling that apart. It's going to be interesting. But Germany says they're up for it, they're ready for it, and they are now investing in creating the biggest and strongest military again on the continent over here. So we're at that stage. Um, Meanwhile, Minneapolis has taken off and people are wondering, and we're going to have a look at that in the cards. Is this happening on purpose? Is this being instigated? Is this being pushed on purpose in order to create an upset, a civil uprising, a civil war, which would, of course, be then trigger the Insurrection Act in the United States, which would then of course, right? Probably push out the midterms, if not completely eliminate the necessity for or possibility for midterms. And if you push it even further than that, if things really escalate, if the next elections fall out and you guys are now stuck with the dictator that you have. So there are these thoughts that are going in this direction because a lot of things that are happening don't add up. Like they just don't make sense. Like this last person that was taken out on camera in front of running cameras, which the agents knew the cameras were there and the cameras were running and the cameras were focused on them. And still they swarmed this one peaceful person who seemingly stood up for a woman who was being attacked by these agents. And then he was pushed to the ground after he was drop kicked by them. And one of them, while he was helpless on the ground, ended his sojourn on this planet. And afterwards, they tried to say he showed up there on purpose with a weapon in order to instigate. Now, the whole thing is so over the top, it just doesn't make sense. First of all, why would he be there with a weapon? That is the question, but not to attack him. Why are human beings doing this? Because at the end of the day, these agents are also human beings. And yes, their training sucks. And yes, they might be psychopaths, but there are people around them yelling at them, screaming at them. They know what they're doing is wrong. So why are they continuing? Have they been brainwashed? Are these already robots? Are these, what is happening here, right? Or is this all a psyop? Don't trust what you're seeing or what you're looking at. Don't trust what you're being shown, but people are on the ground there that are literally seeing what they're seeing. So what is going on? What is really happening behind the scenes? And let's do a deep dive into that and see what comes up. Next up, Trump has introduced his Board of Peace. And so, of course, most of the countries that have joined this Board of Peace are already dictatorships or hard right-wing countries, countries such as Argentina. But other countries have completely said no, they're not joining it. And that is most of Europe, European countries. Now, it's clear because he's stating he's going to be chairman for life, right? So he is never going to be able to leave that position. So there's this weird thing because in most other organizations, there's a voting system or a voting process for whoever's going to be head of that. And but here he's saying no, he's going to be that for life, forever. And he's also introduced at the WEF his zoning plan for Gaza. So they've already divvied all that up and divvied up what they could build where, which is absolutely wild. And it's caused some consternation, to say the least. It's caused some consternation. So we're gonna have a look at this Year of the Fire Horse. Guys, remember February 17th at during the new moon solar eclipse, I'll be hosting a Zoom meeting for you, me, all of us, where we're going to be diving into the energies of the Year of the Fire Horse. We'll be doing a puja. Yes, we're gonna pray. We're gonna let those frequencies wash through our consciousness and trigger the frequencies within us that need to come up, that we need to experience, explore, feel, initiate, trigger to be able to make the most of these energies this year, because this is the year, you guys. I've been saying for a couple of years ago in 2020, 2021, 2022, it was really clear to me that 2027 to 2030 are going to be heavy years, like really heavy years. And 2027 is the year where I'm feeling, ugh, this is interesting. 2030 is obviously another year. We all know that. There's a lot of psychic energy being pushed into that year, a lot of focus on that year. So we know that something is definitely going to happen 2030, possibly 2032. It's we are in on a different timeline, on a completely different timeline, different trajectory, different track than we were prior to 2019. And there have been adjustments, minor adjustments ever since then, but we are on track to something completely different. So another question that you might be asking yourself, and we'll dive into that, is now the time to do something, right? Is it okay to do something? Is it okay to stand up and speak? Is it okay to articulate this? Is it better to stay quiet and wait for this to go away? From historical lessons, it's unlikely to go away. And it's unlikely to go away, especially if we stay quiet. But are we agitating the energy? Are we increasing what is happening? Is this going to happen regardless if we use our voice, if we stand up, because it's a part of evolution and transformation that is happening regardless? So we're going to have a look at that and be clear that there is no certain answer to that, right? There's no definitive. So if anybody tells you what you're doing is wrong, they're wrong. And so for some of you, it's going to be, yeah, staying quiet and maintaining a specific frequency of peace or of balance and focusing in on that. But for others of you, you are being called to step up and out, and you'll feel that And things will just naturally flow in that way for you. And both ways are right because we need all of that right now in moving forward. And we do have control. We do have abilities to shift the timeline that we're on and that we're the experiences that we're having. We do have agency. However, we're not yet utilizing it in a cohesive way because many of us are still hoping that this is all not true, that this is all going to die down within a week or two, that it's going to settle, that we just have to ride out the next 4 years and then everything's going to go back to normal. It's not going back to normal. It's not going to settle. It's only going to get worse. And the problem is that we're already so far in and so deep in that no matter what we do, it's actually going to further the other agenda. So how can we move through this energy right now? How can we move through this time? How can we stay safe, keep our loved ones safe, still articulate our ideas and what we believe in? How can we support the right side? How can we get off the fence without falling off it? And we're going to have a look into all of that because as time progresses, and you guys know me, those of you, most of you that are watching this, you know that I never hype in that sense, right? Like I never am going to say, oh my God, it's World War III. Now is the time. Everything's happening. I keep saying we're not there yet. That's my main message is we're not there yet, right? And I keep like bringing things down. But now I am telling you, we are at the threshold. We are right there. We are right at the edge. And the situation and the setup that is happening now is something that is incredibly profound. We're moving into times that have never been on Earth. Right now, we're moving through times that have already, we've already experienced that, but we're moving into times that we have never experienced. And the level of conditioning that is about to hit us, the level of restrictions that is about to hit us, the level of all of that, right? Reality creation that is about to hit us is going to be absolutely intense and incredible. Already now, you're realizing that a lot of stuff that you're seeing and hearing, you don't really trust. In your gut, you don't trust it. You're seeing it, you're reading it, but there's that doubt in the back of your mind. There's that questioning in the back of your mind. Is this really real? Is what I'm reading, is what I'm seeing really real? And it gets annoying because you have to literally, everything that you're reading, fact check everything. For example, I saw a really well-written article that Germany is getting its gold back from the US. And while it's true that Germany stores its gold in the US, while it's true it addressed questions about what it's going to do if the US turns hostile and finds ways to retain that gold and to hold on to that gold, it is not true that Germany has now taken steps to regain that gold or bring it back. It's stored in New York somewhere. Okay. So it's really important that you guys follow these, and this is where it comes in. This is where all our healing work has led us, where we have to fine-tune our intuition so much that we're no longer listening to what has traumatized us and the programming that has traumatized us within, and that's not guiding us, but that we have a pure link and a pure intuition, because this is the only thing that is going to save you moving forward. Okay. And Jesus already spoke about this, not to bring Jesus into the chat, but he is everywhere. But in this New Testament, where it says that the only thing that's going to save you is your connection to God, like literally, right? God will tell you where to go, what to do, what to say, what not to say, how to show up, and put you in the right place at the right time. But can't do that if you don't have a connection. Can't do that if you're only listening to your fear. Can't do that if your perception is distorted because you never did your inner healing work, right? So it's super important that we now move out of this phase of having to be babied spiritually, having to only be coddled spiritually, giving ourselves too much time, right? Because a lot of people think they have all the time in the world. It depends on what your goal is. If you're here only for yourself, then I guess, yeah, you know. But once you realize that you are a tool in the hands of God and that your existence is not only for you, but for everyone that you've ever encountered, you realize you don't have all that much time, right? So it's yeah, right. So it's time to move out of that stage and to really be able to look at what is in front of us and to still stay positive, to still stay on top, to still say, yes, I am able to do this. Yes, we're going to move through this. Yes, this is a challenge, but it's going to end positively. And to work in that direction. That is really, and yes, God can move and shift all things. God can make all things possible or happen. The universe has a solution for all problems, and we just have to be in alignment with the solution. So yes, Erin, I will be doing, I can include that here with the future of Canada. I did do one, I think, over on TikTok because I think you brought it up with the secession of Alberta and that now Alberta wants to secede too. Like Quebec has always been kind of problematic in Canada. They wanted to secede years ago and were very serious about it. And Canada had to do a referendum in which everybody voted. I think it was one of the most popular referendums of all Canadian time. And everybody voted to keep Quebec in. And that was important because Quebec is a vital economic driver for Canada. But now we have Alberta as well that is stepping up and saying, hey, we don't want to be a part of this anymore. And with with the US saying they want to annex Canada, that's the next step would be, would Alberta then become a part of the US if this secession actually happened? Will there be a referendum? Will people be voting is this something to take really seriously? So there's a lot happening, but the borders are being pushed again. And the shift in what defines us as a country, what defines us as a national entity, right, is being re-examined. We're looking at that again. Because traditionally, up until now, we've relied on the borders, right? The borders are, this is what we are, this is who we are. And we can see that being shifted and once again showing to us that that is not who we are. That is a story or a narrative that we create and then we make it a part of our identity. And we see that happening in real time right now. Because when you think of Greenland, most people don't, they think it kind of like is a sidekick. It's like Tatooine of Denmark, some way off beaten track aspect of Denmark, not really belonging to Denmark. And they're just doing their own thing. But what would it mean now if they became a part of the US? Within 10 years, they would be seen as Americans. And that's how fluid our identity actually is, right? But people are acting and dying. This is the crazy part. They're dying for this narrative that this is who I am. I'm an American, I'm a German, I'm an Italian, or what have you. But the borders and what that defines as who you are is shifting every 80 to 120 years. So how does that even make sense? And this is what I've been trying to say over the course of the years that I've been working is that people have been able to deprogram themselves on a level of, I recognize that I program myself, I program who I am and my reactions. They realize that their school contributes to that. They realize their community contributes to that, their parents, their families. But when it comes to cultural programming, a lot of people are completely blind because your cultural programming is on the layer of your deep subconscious. And this programming tells you right from wrong, right? This programming tells you it's okay to eat crickets, right? Like in Mexico, it's okay to eat crickets with your tequila, But you go somewhere else and people are like, get crickets. Like, I'm not going to eat insects. That's freaking like, that's gross. So this cultural programming is really deep and it's on a layer that most people don't really go to look because it's taken for granted. This is the taken for granted layer of your reality. And it ties in with exactly this border consciousness, this nationalistic consciousness that is on the rise. And I've been saying that for years that it's coming back up. But at the same time that it's coming back up, it's also coming back up for us to analyze it, look at it, and realize that this is not who I am, right? So if that falls away and all the other programming falls away, what remains? What remains? And it would be better for us to focus in on that than to focus in on maintaining cultural identity, because cultural identity, I feel, is a momentary artistic expression of a group of people moving through an experience at the same time. That's it. That's all culture is. And that's why cultures have changed over time. If you look at Chinese history, Japanese history, Indian history, if you look at African history, the culture has always been changing. There are certain things that are continuous for sure, but there are vast differences between certain periods of history and how the people express themselves versus today, for example, right? So cultures are allowed to change because they are living expressions of a group of people moving through an experience together, but they are not an identity. And this is where a lot of people get really messed up in their brains about it because they feel it's an identity, it's part of who they are. And then they go out and get themselves killed or kill others to defend something that's a mythological narrative. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. But I don't know how to get that message up on a billboard. And I've been saying this for quite some time. And here we are. So let's have a deep dive in and have a look at Minneapolis and see if this is all staged and if you can trust what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what it's supposed to, it's clear the direction that people are being pushed into. And we saw that already, the direction that the US was taking already, right? Back when it was Biden against Trump, and we were saying that this is impossible. What they want to do is turn people off of this form of governance, off of the democratic or what we call democratic form of governance, right? And because there's no way an entire country of 400 million people, right? And these are the two best candidates that you have, are each one of them has a foot in the grave, isn't really connected anymore to what they're, and probably might not even live to see the ramifications and the consequences of their decisions while they're in office. Right? So it's like, how can this be? How can these be the best candidates? Clearly, this is being done to frustrate the people so that they can then turn and fall into the system that is being offered as a solution. Like that was obvious from the get-go. And but it seems that, people wanted peace, right? They're holding on to anything that is going to maintain the peace. They're trying to be good in how they solve these situations that are arising. They're trying to find good solutions. They're trying to find peaceful solutions. And only in the utmost are they going to be using violence, but they're being goaded into that. They're being pushed into that. They're being shoved into that, or they're being triggered into that. They're being provoked into that. So what's the deal here? And it's sad to see because there's a lot repeating that we've already seen in history, and it's sad to see that there are still people that can't see through this, right? They can't observe what is really happening and see through it. And they buy into it and they think, oh, this has to happen, and everything that's happening is just collateral damage. And that's what happens when you shift course. But no, that's not what happens when you shift course, because there's so many solutions to the situations that we have in the world. Why is this the only route that we could take? Right? Why does this seem to be the only route that is available to us? So let's have a look and a dive in. And I've got if I fall off track with the readings, which I'm sure I will, you guys know me, side quests all over. Please bring me back to center, yeah. And remind me what I'm actually reading. Okay, so let's get started here and let's see what's coming up. So the first question I want to ask, and if you guys have any questions, right, that further this conversation, please go ahead, post it in the chat, and let's dive into that because yeah. I can't think of all the questions that we might need to ask. And you guys know by now that having the right question is sometimes in some situations even more important than having the right answer. Okay. Okay, so spirit, let's do this. Is my 1 second, you guys? I need a candle. And my candle just went out. While we're waiting, feel free to think of your question and go right ahead and post it. Or any comments towards the situation. Maybe I have somebody who's in Minnesota who's watching, who can tell us what's happening out there. One second here. Sorry, I hit the button. Okay. Ooh, serious times call for serious measures. Yeah, that's a question too. Why Minneapolis? Why there? We'll ask that for sure. For sure, because it definitely seems targeted, doesn't it? Then I just, right before I started this live, I saw that Gavin Newsom. I mean, I never saw Gavin Newsom as being really hot, you guys. Like, he always seemed like this sleazy kind of, type. And now all of a sudden he is so good looking. What happened? What did he do? But he's funny, he's witty, he's standing up to injustice. He's become like this Cape Crusader. Like, what happened? Um, but anyways, he has re-entered the WHO, which Trump has pulled the US out of the WHO. And even though the US has 260 million, I think, in debt to the WHO, which apparently they don't intend on covering. But Newsom has put California as a state back into the WHO. So it's gonna get wild, you guys. Wild. I ask for this space to be cleared so that the information that comes through is clear. I ask for the Holy Spirit to surround and protect me, and to protect all those that are watching, and to protect this session and this reading. I ask for truth, I ask for clarity and conciseness. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's start off with this question: why Minneapolis or Minnesota? Why Minnesota? Why Minnesota? And I also want to know why ICE is so vicious. Where did they find these people that are willing to do that? Like, I don't understand. Anyways, let's go. Why Minnesota? So this is what it is. I think I'll switch so you guys can see the cards. I'm gonna switch the camera. It's probably easier that way. Okay, why Minnesota? So this is what it is. This is what it isn't. This is the next step for Minnesota. And this is the outcome of the entire situation. And some clarifying cards here. We've got Three of Wands, so new vision, hope, and Nine of Swords. Okay. Okay. So Three of Wands is usually a hopeful vision, right? Some kind of hope. The seed has planted and the tree has sprouted. It's not a fully grown tree yet, but we're almost there. And here we have the Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Swords is showing the pressure and the fear and the doubt and the heaviness. And we see this mountain landscape, right? And we know it's about to get dark. And imagine you have to go through there. You have to still get home, still get to where you're going. The sun is about to set and you're still out in nowhere and you've run out of time. So there's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on this hope that is growing in Minnesota. I don't know. I have to check who's there in politics. Who has a seat from there in Congress? Is it Waltz? Is it Waltz, the governor of Minnesota? Somebody posted in the chat because I'm not American, so forgive me my ignorance. I'm allowed to be ignorant too. Just like Americans don't know a lot about some countries out there. And but I think Waltz is governor of Minnesota. And but there's some kind of positivity, that ideological positivity that had its roots or has its roots in Minnesota, which is causing them to focus in on it. They want to stifle, they want to suppress whatever positive seeds are coming up and out of Minnesota. That is the goal. So there is a stronghold there that is anti whatever is happening in the country right now. And they are putting weight on that. They're like covering it up, pushing it down, putting heavy energy on it. Okay. Then we've got, what is this? Why Minnesota? What is Minnesota? And we've got revival, renewal, judgment. A minute, they're the voices that are coming out of Minnesota for whatever reason. They can really get people to stop and think. It's a true Midwestern American voice. That's what I almost heard. That's what I just felt in the back of my neck, on the right side of the back of my neck. It's a true American Midwestern voice. So people are going to listen. America is going to listen, right? It's not some Cuban voice from Miami, no offense. It's not a Latin voice from California, no offense. It's not a Black voice from New York. It's a rooted Midwestern voice that is coming up, and people would listen to that. They have to stop that. This is also why they're attacking now people that are not of color. And I spoke about that, and I spoke about that last time on the live as well, and I spoke about that on my TikTok, is that part of the problem with racism is that eventually, right, it doesn't just stop at racism. Racism is such a deeply layered topic. I'm not even going to scratch the surface here, don't worry. But otherwise we'd never get finished. But part of the problem is that it's systemic, and it just doesn't stop at being racist. It just doesn't stop at isolating one particular group of people. And we could really see that in Germany. Eventually, the entire country was oppressed. Eventually, every group was locked into some kind of an oppressive cycle. And so we see that here with the judgment card, like this breaking up and out, this getting a second wind or a second chance as well. Okay, there's something about that. What Minnesota is not, and we've got the King of Pentacles. Okay, so there's something here which is hidden, you guys. It's running underground, some kind of an underground current, because the King of Pentacles is the one who is in charge. This is a man who would be governor, right? Like that would be a classic. So it's not about Waltz. Let me backpedal on that. But it's about some kind of an energy perspective focus that is coming up and out that they want to stifle. They want it gone. Okay, gone. So actually because I'm reading in the reverse here, I've got to put this up here. So it shows up on the camera as being at the top. So this is the next step. There's going to be some kind of an agreement. Okay, they're going to find some kind of a working together. Now, I did hear also before I started this live that Bondi has asked for the voter roll. They said that ICE would leave Minneapolis, leave Minnesota, but if Minnesota gave the voter roll, handed over the voter roll. So I don't know if Minnesota is going to do that in full capacity. I don't know, to be honest. What I am seeing here is some kind of togetherness, okay, some kind of working together. And so maybe this the feds, right, federal side of things, the state and ICE would be the three stones, okay, or the three coming together to work together. But there's going to be some kind of an agreement. They're going to end this. Like this is, they don't want insurrection just yet. And especially the Dems are realizing that this might be a problem if it happens too early, right? So they don't want it just yet. So there's going to be some kind of a agreement. They're going to close this off, but the energy is Knight of Swords. Okay? The energy is Knight of Swords. It's not gonna stop. It's not going to fully stop. Let's put it that way. It's not going to fully stop. It feels like they're gonna come to some kind of an agreement and then something kicks it off again. Okay. Something or someone kicks it off again. Something or someone kicks it off again. So it's gonna, is this going to escalate? Is this going to escalate? Is this going to escalate? Is it going to escalate? Hmm. Yep, 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 yeah, yeah. They want the structures to fall. They want the structure to come down. They want the structure to fall. It might even be that, oh my gosh, it might even be that they have information, okay? They have information about, maybe this is not even the three that I said. Maybe there's some kind of a grouping that is coming together that is planning the downfall of whoever's at the top. Okay, I have to be careful how I say this, right? So you guys understand. There's a group that is coming together that is planning the downfall of the person at the top. And at the top of your country or the leadership. And there are leaders that are a part of that that are coming out of this area, and they know that. They know that. Okay. They know that. And that came to me when I saw the tower and the fall of the top here. And the person's running away. Because all of us have been asking, why is there no pushback? Why is nobody pushing back? Why is nobody fighting back? Why aren't they? Maybe they are, but in secret. And that reminds me of World War II Germany as well. It was very similar, right? People were thinking nothing was happening. Meanwhile, there were tons of resistance efforts that were all underground so that they could function, so that they wouldn't be infiltrated, they wouldn't be betrayed, they wouldn't be usurped, they wouldn't be broken apart. And this is what I'm seeing here is that there's some kind of an effort being made, and this is why they're targeting Minnesota, because I'm sure some other states are involved as well, or other leaders in other states, but for some reason they have information on that one that they don't want to make public. And the actual intention is to bring the powers that be in Minnesota to make them seem incompetent and incapable of protecting their people and bring them to fall. Move them out of positions where they have influence and power. Okay. Okay. See here. Somebody asked, will this further divide the black and white church? I have no idea about that. That's not news I'm hearing over here, so I'm going into this fully blind. And I didn't know you guys' church was being divided over stuff like this. Um, so let me see. Let me see here. Will this further divide the black and white church? The Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is not really a divisory card in that sense, so will this further divide the church? That's not what I'm getting. A message is going to be born out of this, right? A message is going to be born out of this for the church. I feel this is actually going to attack the church. The church is going to continue being under attack. Okay. I feel like the church, if it doesn't find a message that really connects people, Knight of Cups, that really shows love, like genuine love, and they're not just talking about. I don't know if you guys saw. I mean, I died laughing. I don't know how many of you saw that Drewski satire on TikTok that got over 12 million views. It must be way over that now, where he is impersonating, making fun of that born again church, and he's like flying through the air, and he's saying that, I wear Christian Dior because I'm Christian, and I wear Louboutins with the red soles because I walk in the blood of Christ. I mean, he was hilarious. He was so funny. And the pastors had to reply to that. Now, this has nothing to do with this, I get it, but it contributes to the overall image of the church that is crashing and falling apart and breaking apart. And people are not really seeing the church as a haven of goodness anymore. You know, it's a haven of lies and pretending to be good, the Knight of Cups, um, generating an energy of, right? Oh, we want to be good. I'm looking for love, but it's not really that. And everybody can see right through it. So they're going to have to develop some kind of very sharp messaging to gain any kind of really significantly influential standing in the hearts of the right people. Okay. But yeah, I'm not seeing this as being the church is divided because the church is infiltrated. Okay. It's nothing to, yeah. Hope is coming though. If someone can speak hope, if someone can speak hope. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Is this all a psyop? That's one of the questions I've been seeing. Manchurian candidates, sure. With ICE, is this all a psyop? First of all, let's see ICE. What's going on with ICE? And even ICE, the image of ICE is just wild, right? The leader, I forgot his name, but the head honcho was filmed and he looked straight out of World War II and he didn't care. He didn't care. So let's have a look. What is ICE? Who is behind it? What is ICE? Who is behind it? Funding? intention, outcome, and spirit. Spirit. Two cards. Okay. So the overall energy here is it's meant to stall. Oh gosh. Okay. So apparently the intention here that we're seeing is the Hanged Man, stalling, and Five of Branches, instigation, battling, warring. But the Five of Branches is not yet the Five of Swords, right? So it's not full out real war. It's only supposed to be like a power struggle. Okay. So what is ice? Whoa. Okay, what is ice? We have the Queen of Cups, and we know that, I don't know, all of a sudden Christy Nome just, now the cups, they're quite an interesting suite because they are emotional, right? They often also are seen as, along with the air suite, because they're very quick, as the element that can also obfuscate or flat out lie, right? That's why the Knight of Cups is seen as this beautiful liar, you know? But the Queen of Cups too, right? The Queen of Cups can be um seeing what she wants to see, can be portraying things the way she wants to have them, can be saying things just to smooth the waters. She's in a group of friends, she's the one that's not always to be trusted, kind of thing. So it's interesting that it shows up when we ask, well, what is ice? And we see here it's also supposed to cater to the emotional realm. This is its function is catering to the emotions. I don't understand why, but let me just turn this whole thing around because actually it's set up differently and now it's in the wrong position and I'm getting irritated looking at it on camera. So one second. So this is supposed to be here. This is supposed to be here. This is then here, and this is here. Okay. So who is funding ICE? And we've got people with grievances, right? Five of Cups. People that want to see things fall, people that want to see things come down. There's people that like have a chip on their shoulder, people that have revenge ideas. Five of Cups is this, and look how emotional this is, right? This is very emotional, like the sky, the water. This is the realm of emotions here. It's meant to trigger the emotions of American people and worldwide. It's literally meant to do that. It's supposed to drive the tsunami. We've got the Four of Swords and the Lovers. What the heck? What the heck? And Spirit, how does Spirit see it? Six of Wands and King of Stones. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any input on these cards, let me know. Just write it in the chat. But from the way I'm perceiving it and seeing it, it's a stall and deflection mechanism. Ice is meant to deflect. Okay. It's stalling and deflecting and causing havoc and instigating. And it's evoking emotions, triggering emotions. And we have here the victory for a King of Pentacles. So someone who's already on top of the world. Remember that the King of Pentacles is the last card in the tarot, right? We start off with a Fool and then we move through everything. And the very last card, this is when you've mastered the universe, mastered the earth, is the King of Pentacles. This is the literal king. And here we have the Six of Wands, which is victory. So it's meant to deflect and bring victory through the deflection. And the how it's going to continue is it will calm down and I feel it's going to merge into something else. The Lovers confused me for a second and then I realized it's the Lovers is also emerging. It's also a decision. Are we going to go the low road or the high road? It's Gemini, right? So it's two coming together. So there's going to be another unit in future that it's going to be merging into or merging with. And maybe they're saying that, it's this new unit that is coming in is meant to calm it down or stabilize it or do whatever, but no, no. No, so we'll see what happens. But again, if we look to history, right? The SA, which is the equivalent of the ICE in Germany, and the SA were the brown shirts, and they came first, and they were headed up by a gay guy who was pretty open about his gayness back then, and they didn't like it. The German military back in the 1930s didn't like that. But these brown shirts moved through the streets of Germany and intimidated people. They would just beat people up randomly, drag people off the streets, drag them in for questioning, and that caused fear to escalate back then. And remember how authoritarian people were in their minds. They didn't think at that time that they were allowed to stand up to the state, right? It took a while to get for them to get to that position. And so these brown shirts were really brutal and people were afraid of them and they caused all kind of havocs. They're the ones that trashed the stores of the Jewish people and all of that. And then the German military said to AH, the guy with the mustache who was leading Germany at the time, that he had to get rid of this band of wazoos because they were embarrassing, they were trashy, they were low level, and they were elitists. They were elite German military, and they weren't going to deal with that crap because the crap wanted to become the German military itself. They wanted to be the army of Germany. And the actual German military was like hell to the no. So AH, the guy with the mustache, because he wanted these generals on his side that had experience through World War I and the previous Napoleonic Wars, he wanted them on his side. And so he did away with the SA and the brown shirts in what was called the Night of the Long Knives. He went and backstabbed his gay friend who ran this and offed him and did away with the brown shirts so that the military would be appeased. And they were appeased and they took over. But what then happened was even worse. Because what then happened is what you guys have all heard about was the SS. And they were more efficient, they were more ruthless, they were quieter, they were sneakier, they were skilled, and they weren't brown shirts, they were black shirts. They were then the black shirts. So this is might be because here I see the quietness and this fusing into. I don't see the ice going away. I don't see it. So radio, radio, radio. Okay. So let's get to the question: is this a psyop? Is this actually a science? Is this a psyop? Can you believe what you're seeing, or is this all just on even worse? People used to say back in the day, if they want to fool you, they just have to. I mean, look how they did fool us. Look how they did fool us through media. So many people have skewed images of what Germany is like. They're still living in the 40s, and meanwhile, Germany is in 2026, right? Like it's a completely different world over here. And people, when I talk to them about Germany, they still come back with, oh, isn't it like this? Isn't it like that? And I'm like, well, what planet are you on? Like, huh? Like, where do you even get this stuff? And then I think about the media, of course, the media. Look at the world outside and what they think of Black people, what Asians think about Black people because of the movies that they watch, like Tyler Perry movies and stuff, right? Which the humor is great within a certain context, but if you pull it out of that context and people start believing that stuff, that's a whole different ballgame, right? And because they had no access to real American Black people, they started believing what they saw in the movies. I kid you not. I kid you not. And then look at how we think about Africa and the countries in Africa and how people are now making fun of documentary filmmakers that go to Africa and they look for every, poor hovel and they pay people to look poor. But when it comes to the wealth of Africa, they don't focus on that. They don't focus on the advanced cities, right? And the wealthy people in Africa. Nobody goes over there to make documentary movies on that, right? So people grow up with this image in their heads. And it's crazy how the media does that to us and how we let it happen, of course. So now the media has us even better with live footage, and they even made videos and movies about that. Remember those movies like Blair Witch, I think was one of the first. If you guys remember that with the so and for way back in the beginning when Blair Witch first came out, people didn't know in the first week or so of Blair Witch if it was real or not. I remember this discussions that a lot of people believed this was real, that there were these kids that went into these forests in Virginia and got lost and lost their cell phone and somebody else found it and people believed it, you guys. And it was only when they started saying, no, it's a movie, it's like hype for a movie that people went, oh. And so is this real? Is what we're watching real? And that's why I'm begging if somebody's in Minnesota and watching this right now, um, is this what's gonna happen? Is this true? Are you guys there? Are you on the ground there? That would be fantastic to know. Is this real? Yes or no? Intuitive exercise, you guys. What do you feel? What do you feel here? What card is this? Is this real, what we're watching? Yes or no? We've got Knight of Cups. So there's some obfuscation and lies to it, but it's not a complete lie. It's not fully lies, but there's some. Because the Knight of Cups is not a fully 100% truthful energy, right? It likes to blur the edges kind of. It's like the filters on TikTok. Yeah, it's you, but it's a little blurry. So there's that. Is this completely 100% true, what we're being told, what we're watching? You've got the Chariot, which is relatively truthful. The Three of Cups. Um, okay. So not everything is true, you guys. And this is hypothetical. I am saying this from the cards that are here, not necessarily just to, be sure, okay? Because I don't want to lead you guys astray while we're talking about being led astray, okay? So it could actually, these cards are not 100% foolproof, right? We know this, but they do show tendencies. And the tendency that is being shown here is that something is being obfuscated, Nine of Wands. Something is being buried, the catacombs. Something is being obfuscated, Knight of Cups. It's appearing clear and like a clear direction forward. But this is what gets me. This is like the snickering on the side, the Three of Cups. Okay, this is too playful for a situation like that. And here we have the Fool right on top, getting played for a fool. For a new beginning, for a new start. Okay. So that's what's showing up in the cards. This is not what I'm saying. I want you guys to make your own decisions, right? Read everything, double check everything that you read, I mean, and really dig into it. If you know people personally on the ground there, then I'm sure you can take their word for it. But yeah, something is off here. Something is really fishy. Okay, something is really fishy. Something is really fishy. There's a lot that these two here, there's a lot that's not being said. And something being buried, the catacombs. Okay. So while what's happening on the ground with people actually out there and protesting, I do believe they're actually out there and protesting, even though I'm not actually in the ground to see it. I do believe that part. But the story, like all of it, But it's clear as well that, for example, with a man that they just shortened his life again on camera, which is wild because they know the cameras are running. They know that people are videoing them and they're still doing this. So what gives them the protection and the impunity to do that, right? Because it makes no sense. You guys don't even walk into a store and steal a chocolate bar if you know that there's no camera there and nobody would care if you took the chocolate bar. So how do you take someone out of their life and you know that you're on camera? Like what? Right? Think about it. Think about it. How often do you go, you drive your car, you park your car, and you make sure that when you realize, oh my gosh, I can't park here, you go and park somewhere else. And that's just parking. That's just a chocolate bar. How do you take someone out of this life on camera? And you know it. So there's something off, like just way off. Either they got a blank check from Bondi, Trump, and Nome, or government gave them complete immunity. Yeah. But still, regardless of the government, this is still a human being that is, we think, right? We think, are these even humans? But I don't want to get some kind of conspiracy theory going. I want to be ground zero for that. That is not my intention here. But it's incredible. So whew, let's start over again. And somebody asked, could this be because of the files? Okay. Could this be because of the files that they're distracting from the files? Because the files are actually, they are horrendous. And the problem with the files is that it has led us to believe that if the files are released, then everything stops. You know, then we did our work and we caught the bad guy and then the movie ends, right? But that's not the case because Epstein was one of many. And he's probably been replaced already. So this whole system that he was covering up and that he was a part of, it's like it's still there. And now it's just in the hands of other people. So is this about the files and the stuff that has been coming about allegedly what is in the files is insane. So let's see here. Is this about the files? Is this about the files? Look at that, the high priestess. Not even the tarot wants to say yes or no and is not answering. Even the tarot is like covering this up. Come on, be nice to me. Is this about the files? Is this about the files? Two of Swords. You guys that read the cards, look at this. Look at this. I shuffled and pulled the cards on camera. I didn't fake this. This is blocking, energetically blocking. Now we know that remote viewing certain government things and of certain families is very dangerous, right? We know looking into that, we know that they are protected. We know that they understand that these things work and they have taken certain measures. We know that, and we're seeing that right here. I'm asking a direct question. All it is, all the tarot has to give me is a yes or no. And it's giving me out of all these cards, it's giving me the exactly the two that are going like this. Neither yes nor no, and is blocking the answer to the question. It's a block. Okay. Third one's the magic one, we say, right? So tarot, I respect you, but I'll ask you one more time and then not again. Is this about the files? Is this about the files? I can't even. I can't even. I can't even. The files are insane, you guys. They are insane. And with the Hierophant coming up, it would take down the structure of the fabric of morality of our society. The Hierophant is the high priest. It is the, right, the morality, that structure, that part of it. And the belief in right and wrong, good and bad. It would tear it all down. Yeah, it has to do with funds. I'd say based on this, even though it's no answer is also an answer, right? We know that no answer is also an answer. So based on this, I would say yes, it has to do with funds. Um, Yeah. All right. Now, is this going to lead to civil war? That's another question that we have here. Is this going to lead to civil war? Is this going to trigger something in the United States that is going to explode, blow up, and go places? Don't forget, if you would like to have me answer a personal question later, once I'm done with this, you can pre-book. The link is at the top of the chat, and I will then get to your question, of course. Those of you that are just joining, thank you so much. And thanks so much for being here with all of us and looking into what the heck is happening to our planet and where this ship is now being taken. So human beings are interesting, Carlene. Just this week, I watched a documentary about people in Indonesia who participated in, and they were reenacting it, and some laughing, and a few were remorseful. I know it's the same thing there's this whole thing in the Ukraine, which is why Russia used that. I don't think used that and said that Ukrainians are right wing because there's a huge um faction that is known in the Ukraine to do exactly that with World War II. And they have their grandparents' uniforms still, and they have entire kind of like Civil War reenactments. They reenact that stuff. It's insane. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so is this some kind of transformation or evolution that we have to go through? That we have to go through. Now, another thing that I keep thinking about is that Rudolf Steiner, for those of you who don't know who he is, please go look him up, Steiner. He was also the founder of the Waldorf schools. So that he stated that Ahriman, the spirit of Ahriman, would arise out of the American Midwest. It would come out of the US. And harmonic energies are these extremely bureaucratic energies. It's an extremely AI consciousness. So absolutely cold, absolutely ruthless, no empathy, no compassion, just straight black, white, binary language kind of consciousness, right? So I'm wondering if this I don't think we're already there and not quite yet, but maybe definitely on track. So anyways, back to the question that I have for these cards is this some kind of evolutionary cycle that we are going through and that we can't avoid? And once again, because I'm reading these upside down. So the first card here would be the Emperor. Definitely a new structure. Okay, definitely a new structure coming in. The Emperor. Then we have Queen of Swords. New laws as well. And the Four of Cups. This is I don't feel like this is a necessary evolutionary cycle. This is not showing me inevitable. It's not showing me necessary. None of that. It's showing a clear decision. The Queen of Swords, who's very decisive, It's also showing the Emperor, which is also decisive and also harnessing willpower to create. So willpower to create, clear mind decision leads us into the doldrums, Four of Cups, right? Into this swampy kind of energy. So a lot of people are gonna say, this is leading us in a certain direction and there's nothing we can do about it, but it's not really, it's because we're letting ourselves drift. We're letting ourselves drift. We're making a clear decision via non-action. And it's about literally harnessing our willpower to do something. So what would be the way out? Problem is a new world or a new beginning. Solution, outcome, advice. I'll take these two because this one is sticking in. So advice. Problem, solution, outcome, advice. Okay. So based on this here. So it seems the Ace of Stones is the problem, like financially, the world has an issue. It's an economic problem, and that's what I was speaking about in the beginning, that our new structures are no longer going to be based on ideology, but on debt. So it's no longer based on, oh, we want to make the world a better place and there was so much injustice happening. We need to be nicer, kind to each other. It's about, do the books balance, right? Is this country going to fall into debt and then eventually become so impoverished they're never going to be able to come out of it? So they have to have certain things happen, or what's going to happen? Are we willing to start fresh? Are we willing to start new? Are we willing to create a whole new world, a whole new system, a whole new cycle? No, we're not. And that's very clear because because we made this all up. We made it all up. And at any given point in time, we could just all say, okay, this game is done. Monopoly's done. You pack it back into the box, shove it back under the couch until the next time, right? It's just a game. And we act similar to our cultural identities, like this is something that is unchangeable, that was created by the divine, but it's us dictating what is. And we could say from today to the next, without anything collapsing, if we were spiritually mature, mentally and emotionally mature enough, okay, the system no longer works. We're going to implement a new system. You guys keep going, keep producing food. You guys keep buying food or what have you. Just keep the cycle going, and we'll have something new set up in no time, right? Or we do away with money entirely and just start from zero. But they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to go back and start from zero. Oh no, they want to maintain what they have. This is what it's about. So the solution would be a new beginning. That's what I was just talking about. You guys saw me pull the cards. I'm not faking this, okay? It would be a completely new beginning, a complete fresh start, the Fool. Like, complete new beginning, tabula rasa. Throw it all out. Wall Street, Frankfurt, all of it out the door. This whole entire concept of finances and debts and interest and money and checks and balance, all of it out. Out. And the outcome back to a feminine, Queen of Coins, feminine, community-oriented, family-oriented way of going about things. That would be the solution. And that reminds me of this, and this is not an endorsement or what have you, and I don't smoke, you guys. I really don't smoke. I don't. I promise you I don't. But once I did, and not continue, I mean literally one time, and not once upon a time, but one time I did. And I had this amazing experience. One of the things that I was taught in that was, because I'd done it ceremonially, this is really important, right? So I'd done it ceremonially, and I asked to heal, of course, going in, as we always do, but connecting with the spirit of the plant and blah, 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 and not just using it as a recreation or what have you. And what I was shown was that this consciousness that is developing in us is literally being amplified through the machines, because we're not realizing that we are frequency beings. And so all the food that we are eating and ingesting has been processed. That means the frequency of the machine that was processing is inside of the food. So we become part machine frequency because that is the information that is being fed to our bodies and ourselves and our senses, right? And so because of that, we become more and more machine beings that have machine solutions and machine ideas, which is opening up the door for something bigger to come through, okay? And this is the way to clear that out, I was told, but it's unlikely to happen, is that we have to go back to food. We should only eat food that has been grown by our own hands in the soil that is in front of us, right? So eat foods that are local, eat foods that are grown by people, eat foods that have kissed sunshine and not just, gotten hormones, the spritz, injected into them or what have you so that they grow faster, right? Eat foods that are saturated with sunlight. We know all this, but this is what this card is saying. Go back to nature, go back to Gaia, go back to an earthy way of living, right? A connected way of living. And that would help because then we'd go back into our own original intelligence, our own original inspiration from a life source energy and not receiving ideas from this machine consciousness. But unfortunately, we're on a timeline where I don't know. I don't want to say nothing. Miracles can't happen, but it might take a while. Yeah, it might take a while. And here we see the exact same thing coming up and out. Okay. So Ace of Stones, the Fool, new beginning, new beginning. We need a fresh start economically, completely fresh, where we literally go back to a matriarchy, a maternal way of living, closer to the earth. And this doesn't mean primitive. We keep thinking that if you're close to the earth, that then you're primitive. And that's another bias that has been trained into us by the media. That's not true. We can be highly advanced beings and living still in the natural cycle of things, right? We could have the most beautiful dwellings and earthships that are really futuristic and really beautiful. We could be working with frequencies and harmonies and have healing techniques that are just beyond this world and still be close to earth and still be nature oriented and not be primitive. It's absolutely possible. But for some reason, these tech companies have even taken on, they've branded the word future. Have you guys realized that? They've even branded our idea and our concept of future. And when we think about future, it's always going into a specific lane that they have taken control of. And we need to get that back. We need to, but yeah, here we are. So anyways, advice. Let's look for advice. I can go on and on. uh, we have to face the brokenness. Okay, we have to face it. There's no way. We try to bypass a lot and we try to skip the suffering and we try to find shortcuts that are easy. And here are two very difficult cards, the Three of Swords and the Nine of Swords. And it's basically that these are two are showing up in the advice. It's showing us not to bypass, right? We can't. Okay, so that's what's coming up regarding is this a trajectory that we need to be on? Is this for a higher growth and development? Is this something that needs to happen and is unavoidable? All right, you guys. So I'll ask one more question before I shift now to answering your questions. And that is this was Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk. Charlie and Erika, because I just put up a fun video on Erika if she's a clone. And that's really a fun video because there's this idea floating around. And when I checked into it, I thought, what the hell? Like there is a real similarity. If you haven't seen the video, it's on the channel, go check it out. But let's have a look because somebody popped up and said, hey, there's this idea that it was all a psyop. And I said, funny that you mentioned that. Funny that you mentioned that. And I thought, let's tackle that in Sunday's reading and see what's coming up. So is this all a psyop with Erika and Charlie? Yes or no? Start off with a yes or no. Is this all a psy-op? Woo! Woo! Again, you guys, these are the cards, okay? I am not, we're just having fun here, okay? This is not facts, and who knows if the cards are 100% true, okay? But what we have here would be a clear winner. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Okay. This is the Wheel of Fortune. This is, yeah, something that directs the energy, something that directs the flow. Okay. And yeah. All right. All right. Is it all fake? Was it all fake? Was his family fake? Was the marriage fake? Was he fake? Is he still alive somewhere and living in I don't know where? Okay, one question. Was the marriage real? And that's a no, 5 of Cups. I'm just asking yes or no. So this is a very you can tell this is a negative card, so it's a no. Okay. Marriage wasn't real. Again, this is all allegedly, you guys. Are the kids real? And the Fool is usually a yes, so the kids are real. Mhm. Are they their kids though? Are they their kids? And again, we've got to know. I'm so happy I'm doing this on camera and you can see my hands and where the cards are at all times because I can't make this up. This is too much. I can't make this up. Okay, so there you have it. There you have it. Is what do you say, cards? Was what you watched on TV, was what people saw on TV, because I mean, what they did after is absolutely bizarre, like reenacting and setting up a tent that where that happened like you don't do that in normal circumstances of somebody. Can you imagine uh, anyways, is what people saw on TV real, and is he still here? Is he still on planet Earth? Is he still embodied? Is he still embodied, and is what happened on TV real? So there's definitely a structure of planning that was on TV. And according to this, he rose from the dead. We know what card this is. I can't. I need to stop. I need to stop. Okay. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. But yeah, apparently that's what it's saying here. Okay? That's what it's saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's what it is saying. I'm just the telephone here. Just the telephone. Okay. So let me know your thoughts on this or what you see. There is another question. Is that the way to get to where we need to go? People individually deciding to get back to nature so it starts to snowball back on force. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the way we need to go. And this is, of course, why they're buying up like tracts of land and why they're deciding they're going to own nature and own water and own everything. You know? They know. And because they then own all that and we don't have access to it, all we can fall back on. And again, example Germany. Okay. Germany is a fantastic example. And that's why you guys, by the way, let me switch back to me and my face here. Me and my face. I'm offering, and I just put it up on Facebook, but I'm doing a vow release tour. Yes, a vow release. So if you feel connected to the topics of persecution, of I don't want to say because these were women that they took out during that time, or maybe you feel you were here in World War II, right? Maybe you feel like some kind of family connection, or you have whatever it is, right? You just feel called to this tour. It's an intense energetic tour where we are steeped in the energies every day of the tour. And there's some places on the tour which you will never see in any guidebook because I grew up here, so I know where to go and I know who to talk to. So it's going to be incredible. And it has to be in August because of a specific event that has to do with dragons. Because if you feel connected to dragons, this is your tour because that's the shadow animal of Germany. So the light animal is of the Roman Empire, right? Germany was the extension of the Roman Empire. We thought the Roman Empire died. It did, but not really. And it continued through the Holy Roman Empire, which was here in Germany. And then it went over to the US. Okay. So the US is the extension of Rome, but that's a whole other video and topic, and I'm not going to get into it. But all of them show through their symbols, right, of the eagle, like what they really root in. And so the symbol in Germany is the eagle. And back in the Holy Roman Empire, it was the double-headed eagle, but only for the specific family that was running the Holy Roman Empire. But anyways, but their shadow creature is the dragon, right? So you'll find dragon stories, dragon lore, and the dragon, like, I don't even want to spoil the surprise, but just to say. And so there are going to be some really high points on this tour, but also we're going to be moving through some real darkness. And this is all to get your fire back, because ultimately the goal of this tour is to reignite the fire of creativity, the fire of your soul, the fire of purpose, because we go through so many things which put that fire out, which can even break the fire, if that makes any sense. But if you've experienced it, you'll know. But this is to reignite your fire, and the fires in Germany are forged, like they are powerful. And so this is a powerful land to go through that. And also the dragon lines, the Lee lines, the energetic lines here are incredible. And the historical arc. And Germany is so this is one of the reasons why it's been so crushed and why it's been so vilified and why the people have been so warped. Okay. The seeds of the Western mind are here. And I'm not saying that is good. I'm not saying that is bad. I'm just saying that is. So if you're looking at Marxism, at communism, that started in Munich. You're looking at Kant, which Hegel, all these, you're looking at the atomic bomb, you're looking at all these things that were pensions, right? Pensions came from Bismarck. The whole welfare state came from Bismarck, Germany, right? German history. So it's a lot of things that contributed to the Western mind that originated here. The esoteric occult orders, Rosicrucianism, the Illuminati, it all started here. That was in my backyard. And now I know, so now I know where to go. And what to look at and where you can find the traces of all that. So this is going to be a powerful journey of reclamation of your own fire, of your own inner fire. And you're going to see where I grew up and how it shaped me, maybe, likely, of course. And yeah, we're just gonna have a good time. And it's not it's a very small group that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a huge, massive 24, with huge tour buses. So if that's what you're about, and if you're more of a surface skimmer and you like to stay on the surface of things, then this is definitely not the tour for you. And here we go deep, because when you go out of this tour, and I've been guided to do an elements tour, right? So I'm going to cover all 4 elements. And this is the fire element. Clearly, last year in southern France, the Mary Magdalene tour was the ether element. And so I already have the base structures for all the other ones, and they are even more beautiful. But yeah, but this one is probably going to be the most powerful and transformative one of the bunch. And so if you're interested, please let me know and we can talk. Again, 5 to 7 people, that's it. And it's just you, me, and what arises and comes up out of you. So if you really feel, for example, that you've been persecuted in the times of the witches, right? We're literally going to go to spots that still hold the books with the names and the dates and the times of the women that were taken out during that time. and maybe you'll feel a trigger, and maybe you'll feel something pass through you. Maybe you'll be able to finally release something that was sitting so deep in your soul you didn't know how to get to it because it wasn't originating in this life, right? Maybe there's something ancestral that you can finally bring to a close or a loop. So it's a powerful, powerful, powerful tour. And any questions that you have, please feel free to email me. Again, I'm not looking for surface level. I'm not looking for the ones that are doing pentacles in their basements. Like, we're looking at real healing women, healing the land, healing yourself, healing your soul, healing your ancestral lines, healing your connection to your own divine spark, and healing your alignment and your frequency and coming out literally reborn, like not just saying that, or literally coming out and being able to feel some kind of click where everything starts to come in, right? And you can then feel your real gifts and your real energies come to the surface as well, right? So any questions that you have, feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Anyways, I got off track, and but not really, or on track. And that's what I asked you guys to remind me if I get off track, where was I when I left off? And let me go back into the chat and see what you guys are saying. Yeah, people individually deciding to get back to nature so it starts to snowball back on course. Yes, yes. Anyways, I'll wait for you guys to remind me. And once again, if you have a personal question, I'm now moving into personal questions. And I've got Aaron and office work. Office work. Aaron, going back to the office for 5 days a week, currently 3 days a week. If there's room for negotiation. Aaron, room for negotiation, 5 days a week or 3 days a week. Yeah, it's strange with the office thing, how they really, but see, part of the problem for companies is that they have this office space and that's part of their overhead, right? So they pay for the building and the offices and all that goes with it, and then nobody's there ever. So that's problem number one. And problem number two is that people in power, they need people underneath them in order to feel empowered. And it's not that great when they're always with their family at home and the wife is saying, bring out the garbage and do this and do that. Meanwhile, at work, they're this head honcho comptroller with, I don't know, 24 subordinates and all of them kissing butt to like crawl up the ladder. Like, that's a whole different rush, right? So yeah, they need that. They need to get back into the office and get away from like taking out the garbage for the wife. And for companies, it's like, why should we be paying this overhead and have office? But you need to maintain an office at a certain level of company. Like, you need to have a physical represent home, right? So it's yeah. So here we are. Are they gonna go back? Are they gonna allow you to do 3 days a week or continue? Is there room for negotiation? Is there room for negotiation? Is there room for negotiation? So the card that comes up, and let me switch back because I think I like it when you guys see the cards and see what I'm doing. I like it. I'm doing it for me. I like it because it makes it so much easier. So is are you going to be able to go back to the office? So it definitely comes from there. This is yeah, they've decided on this King of Wands. Okay, they feel this is the decision has been made. Okay, I don't even have to flip the other ones over. It's yeah, Two of Stones. They're gonna flip flop, go back and forth. Like, there will be a transitioning period for people, you know. But yeah. The only thing would be, and I don't know if you want to go down that route because that's a whole other ball game and can be tricky as well in the consequences and ramifications if you start up with emotional or mental overwhelm. Okay. If you bring in some kind of instability that is a result of that, psychologically, then that would work. But as you guys know, bringing that topic into your place of work is going to open up a whole can of worms. I don't know if you want to deal with that, but yeah, that's the only thing that would get you out of it. Otherwise, it's a done deal. It's a done decision, and there's going to be a transitioning period and going back and forth. But the yeah, yeah, unless they unless they all felt, or there's a woman who's going to stand up, like really stand up and push back against it. That could be this too, but I still don't see it going because when we look at Queen of Cups versus King of Wands, this has more energy, right? This is more energy. So sorry, Erin. Okay. Um, let's see here. I'm feeling the urge to move, maybe out of my area, out of state. I'm bored with the city. Is this urge coming from spirit and should I trust it, or is it just me being restless and impatient? Good question. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Perfect question. Perfect question. First of all, we're going to see if this is coming from spirit and then if you should move or stay. Okay. So, is this coming from spirit? Yes or no? And what happens if you move? What happens if you stay? What happens if you move? What happens if you stay? What happens if you move? What happens if you stay? Okay. And what's the real topic happening? What's the real question here around why you want to move? What's it really about? So, is this from spirit? Dun, 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 dun. Nope, it's you because you feel restless, impatient, and trapped. Okay. Eight of Spires. It could be that you feel right now where you are that you can't be your full self, right? That you have to maintain yourself in a certain way or hold yourself in a certain lane, a straitjacket, that you have to pretend to be someone you're not to get along or get by. And that makes you feel restricted. It makes you feel like, ugh. Could also be that you've gotten yourself a little bit into a situation where you feel like there's no way out. But with the Eight of Swords, it's, as we know, it's showing that it's something that you've gotten yourself mentally into, and that there's always a way out. There's always a solution, right? And when we look at the Rider-Waite, it's this woman surrounded by swords and she's blindfolded, but she is free to do whatever she wants to do. It's just because she believes she can't, that she can't, right? So I'm gonna put that over here. So no, this is not spirit telling me. What's this really about? Now we all want to know. We're all invested. Oh. Are you looking for love and not finding anything? Is that it? Let's be honest. Okay. So it feels like, would I have more chances somewhere else? Is my person somewhere else? And this may not even be conscious, like in your conscious mind, but underneath you might just be feeling lonely, right? Or feeling like I can't connect on the level I want to connect and be fully myself here. So now I have to switch this again because I laid it out. So the bottom row is if you stay, and the top row is if you leave, if you move. Okay. So if you leave, Ace of Cups, and if you stay, Magician. So it's already showing that if you move, you'd have a beautiful fresh start. There is the possibility that there is a place for you or a home for you that would be initially a much better fit. Okay. And if you stay, that you're going to have to find solutions and make things work. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to stand up for yourself. You're going to have to find your solutions. You're going to have to put some effort in a sense, right? And but here we're already running into it. Okay, strength. Why would you need to bring up strength? Because clearly you'd be running into problems. And here we have the sun if you stay, okay? So again, we see how the tides can shift, right? And here it starts off beautifully. If you move somewhere else, you're going to be like, yeah, the fresh beginning, but then you're running into the same crap you left behind. Look at these mountains, mountains, mountains. Okay. And you're gonna have to bring up a lot more strength because here it's like, oh, but here it's like, oh. And it feels like, Whereas here, once you've broken through that initial period of finding your own solutions, solving things, sticking things out, doing all that, then it transforms into the sun for you, right? Because now you've brought awareness to so many things and nothing can phase you anymore. Nothing can like really hurt you or harm you. You move into a place where you're unfuckwithable. The outcome of this is you'd end up moving again if you move now. And if you stay, you're actually going to put down roots, Ace of Stones. Something new is going to be offered to you, a new opportunity that is much more aligned to what it is that you seek, and can be the beginning of something that is much more solid, much more rooted. And maybe you're going to buy a new house. Maybe it's the house that you're in, and it's not moving state, business or job and all of that, but just moving house, like maybe buying a different house in a different area of the same city so you can get to work, right? Stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be this big shift. The big shift, I don't see according to these cards as being beneficial to you. But if you stick it out and find your solutions, you're going to find yourself in a way better space full of opportunity instead of letting yourself being carried by the currents of life or, floating somewhere and starting over again. Okay. So stick it out. And I feel a year, and I'm saying a year because of the Ace of Stones. And also the sun is a year card. Okay. So the sun is a year card. Where is it? Here. Okay. That's 1 year. Okay. So one more year and you're gonna be shining. You're gonna be golden. Now, if you haven't got a relationship, and I'm just gonna do this as an extra here. Uh, when can you expect to run into someone? When can you expect someone in your life? And we've got the Empress, 3 months, Knight of Cups, Seven of Cups. Yeah. So you will, I feel like you're gonna, yeah, there's gonna be opportunities for you and you're gonna end up having to choose. Okay, you're gonna end up being in because the Empress is abundant. You're gonna have abundant opportunities and just get out there, go looking for love in the right places. Be your feminine self and you're going to find yourself surrounded by opportunities. Okay. All righty. Let's move on to the next one and hurry. I'm holding to get some insight on a life shift. My partner was recently laid off from a very toxic and conniving role and conniving workplace. I'm faithful that this is the best thing that could have happened, but of course it means there's a delay on income. I'm hoping to get some insight on her next role or when it may begin. And immediately I'm feeling a burnout and a deep emotional disappointment that's coming from your partner. It's like she's having to first just heal, like get over it, But what's going to happen next for your partner financially and business wise, please? And one more card for advice. And we'll turn this around here. Remember that this is the advice. So let's see. We've got, say, yeah, there's a new opportunity coming up for her because we've got the Two of Wands, right? The Two of Wands is looking out, and we see her looking out. We see her looking for opportunity, and the opportunities are going to come. The sky's blue, it's not overcast, there's nothing to worry about. It's just being patient. Like the tree is growing and just being patient with that. And then we have the Empress, right? So abundance is coming our way. Oh, no worries. Like already, I don't even need this third card. Yeah, yeah, no worries. Okay. And even though it seems to be an echo of the reading that came before, because these two cards were in the reading that came before, don't worry about it. Everything happens for a reason. And this is showing me that yes, she's going to be embarking on something new that she's uncertain of. So the next position or situation that she gets into, I feel like it's going to come with some kind of a upgrade. There's going to be some kind of an upgrade, either title or income or expectation around the work that's going to end up benefiting her. And she's going to embark on it somewhat not expecting the best, looking for the best, but not expecting it. Okay. And it's going to be fine. These are all positive cards here. The advice card for her. Look at that. Your relationship is what gives her the foundation. Okay. So it's that's the Two of Cups, and it's you guys are gonna be fine. Okay, you guys are gonna be fine. This is gonna cement your relationship actually with one another. And you guys are doing profound nervous system healing with for one another, with one another, because true love heals. And it's gonna be fine. Based on that, she's just gonna move on. But financially, because I can feel the pressure in your question, kind of like, what? Yeah, facing loss. She's gonna have a new start, new beginning, new opportunity is gonna come, and it's not gonna take that long. I'd say by next month, she should have, or by the beginning of spring, okay? By the beginning of spring, she should have something new, or a new opportunity, new offer, okay? So until then, chill. Just let her ease out of the old job and have her do stuff that, somatic healing, yoga. No, no yoga, forget that. But really gentle movements with her body, swimming, lots of swimming. Yeah, eat healthy, being around you. Okay. Alrighty. Thanks for asking. Am I going to leave my job soon? Celestial Infinity. Am I going to leave my job soon? 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 We've got 10 of coins. Ooh, there's a heaviness. 9 of coins and Knight of, yeah. Here we have Knight of Wands, and that's movement and the star. And let me pull one more card and pull one more card. Yeah. Okay, so something's going on right now, right? Where you're secretly thinking about leaving. And I see that secretly with the Seven of Swords. Okay. How do I get out of this situation without ruffling too many feathers? How can I just, one day walk out and never come back? You wouldn't even say bye at this point. You'd just be like, okay, guys, have a nice weekend. And that would be it. And celestial infinity is gone. Um, but yeah, it feels like you could have that sooner than you are aware of. Okay. Sooner than you're aware of, because we have here the star and we have here the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands, as you guys know, is movement. Movement following a higher principle, movement following your hope. So have the hope, have the intention, and then act on it, and that will bring you to change. And this might be your next position or your next work. It may be self-employed. I don't, this looks like self-employment to me, because there's a lot of payback, there's a lot of reward with the 10 of coins. It feels also familial, something that you can pass on. And the 9 of stones is classic, right? 9 of coins, self-employment. So being happy with what it is that you receive. And the Knight of Swords is go, 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 right? So constant work kind of thing, right? and having to come up with solutions on your own, making things happen on your own. So this is all there, and it makes me feel like, yes, if you're thinking of stepping out on your own celestial infinity, it would take a lot of work, but it would work out for you. You would be fine. But you have to set the intention and then follow through. Set the intention and follow through, and things are going to work out for you. If you are looking for a new job or a new position, that is fine too. You will be fine. Like when it comes to money, because you've got the two best money cards here, 10 of coins and 9 of coins, right? And you may be in anguish about it and worried about it, like what happens if I leave, but trust that you're going to be okay. The star also has to do with trust. And so when we take these two cards out of this, right, which is pure anxiety, worry, and fear, because the swords, the spires represent the swords, which are thoughts and thinking. So if you take your thoughts and thinking out of it, then what remains? Good cards. Move in alignment with your intuition, your guidance, and you're going to see success. Okay. Just do it. And that's the hardest part about all these things. Like, you just need to do it. Okay? Yeah. Then I read about a company that chose to do an annual trip to Hawaii for all their employees instead of having office expenses. See, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the other ones are like, yeah, you know, they want to be bosses. Want to be bosses. Yeah. All righty. Then we've got Danny. Is it a good time for me to go to Zambia for my friend's wedding with my two kids? Yes, I talk about it. Nervous about it. My son is autistic, has meltdowns, and I have a 2-year-old girl. Yeah, it's a lot. I would love to go. If you can go, go. If you can go, go. And I feel like there are energies there that would help your kids, that your kids need to connect with. But let's pull some cards. Should Danny go to Zambia with her son and her to Zambia wedding with Danny? But I'm feeling, oh my gosh, like there's this softness there that is waiting for you, like just this softness in the energy. What? I hope you guys saw me. I did not do anything with these cards. I just turned it over like this. And as I'm saying, there's this softness there in the energy. This is what shows up, the lovers. Okay. The lovers. So I don't know if you're out for that or what's happening. 10 of, you don't really believe in this anymore. You don't believe you have that open to you or available to you, or if you are in a situation where you're in this, but it's somehow still weighing on you or heavy on you, that it's all gonna, this clears the air. Okay. It clears the air. And there's an opportunity waiting for you. So Zambia, 10 of Wands, it would be a lot of work. A lot of Empress energy. You got, what is this? What is this? I shuffle the cards. You guys see me shuffling. These two are showing up all the time. So again, spirit brings us together to hear the messages that we all need to hear, I guess, right? And we know that from mediumship that sometimes the messages overlap, but that doesn't mean that they're not individual messages. It's just that spirit knows how to bring the people together that need to hear the same thing, right? So here we have the same thing again, the Empress and the Knight of Cups. And you've been overburdened and overwhelmed in the past. This Zambia trip would take a ton of energy off your shoulders, a ton of energy. What's the advice? Don't deceive yourself. 7 of Swords. Don't deceive yourself. Don't short yourself. So yeah, go for it. If you can, go for it. And yes, it's a lot of work with two kids, but go for it, Danny. There's something beautiful there waiting for you. Lexi, will my business pick up in February? It's been slow this month. I am concerned about finances. Yes, ma'am. That's part of what we're going to be talking about in February 17th, by the way, you guys, is businesses. And this is the year. This is the year. If you want to start a business or you want a business that burns like that, runs, then you want it in fire horse energy. And it's things are going to be blasted, blocks are going to be blasted out of the way this year for you. So will your business pick up in February? Let's see. And I feel it was a tough change of year for a lot of people. Like I honestly do. I feel like it was a tough change of year. Oh, let's see. Advice. Okay. We've got lovers, finding the right people to, yes, yes, yes. There you go. Need I say more? Need I say more? Yes, Lexi. You're going to get together with the right people. I feel like someone is coming who's wanting to help you or assist you in your business or who is already there with you. This may be a friend, this may be a partner, this may be a new business partner, this may be what have you, but there's some kind of contract or agreement, but also you're attracting the right people that love what you have to offer. And you're great at finding solutions. You're going to find your solution. You're going to master this scenario. You're going to be at the end of it, being able to transform the energy transmitted. What's the advice, please? There's something that you still need to learn or see it as a learning opportunity rather than a challenge that's there to break you. Go back to the grindstone. There's something that you need to refine. Okay, that's also what I'm hearing, that you have a great concept or an idea, but there's some refinement needed, and this opportunity is there for you to do that. So go back and refine one or your offering. I'm not quite sure what you do, and you're going to see a significant change. Okay, but yes, the energy for your success is there. Okay, I'll be receiving some inheritance from my dad, Aaron, in the next few months. Is there anything I should be aware of? I'll be receiving inheritance from my dad in the next few months. Is there anything I should be aware of? Inheritance from dad in the next few months. Is there anything I should be aware of? Inheritance, inheritance, inheritance. And advice. And let's see. Inheritance, then months, two of them. And something's gonna stall on this. I'm not quite sure what. But something, it's not that you're not gonna get it or anything like that, but it's gonna move a little bit slower maybe than you'd anticipated. And the advice is to just, yeah, be patient. Four of Cups. Okay. I don't see this being completely blocked or anything that you need to be aware of. There we have the Eight of Stones. It's going to come through. It's going to be okay. But again, just this stalling and the Three of Wands, it's going to open up new opportunities for you. And it feels like that's what your dad would have wanted for you to use it for. So don't feel that, because sometimes when people that we love pass away, we feel like we have to create a shrine for them, in a sense. But he wants you to live. He wants you to live your life. Three of Wands. So you don't have to, you could do something completely different. You don't have to do what he thinks is right or what you think that he thinks is right, right? You do you and live your life. Okay. But yes, there's some kind of a delay that might come up. But it's gonna work out. Just be patient. Don't get impatient. Don't, just be like, okay, whatever. All right. Okay, and oh, there was one more question. Thank you guys so much. And thank you also for going through the link. It helps me immensely. But I did see one question in the chat here, and that is Lavender. 2 years ago, I met a guy in my Orthodox Christian community, and we reconnected last November. Okay, Lavender, let's see. Orthodox Christian community reconnected last November. Is this meant to stay friendship? And first of all, let's see what his intentions are and what yours are. Lavender 143. Lavender 143. Let's see what's going on with you. No, the relationship between you, the energy of the relationship, you and who you would have to be, and how this person is encountering you. Your feelings, this person's feelings, and how they perceive you and how you perceive them. Okay. So the overall energy, Lavender, is the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. So this could definitely, Knight of Cups, yeah, it could turn into something, okay? It could turn into something. Yeah, it could. Three of Wands here, okay? And this is future, right? Actually building something, seeing something that is worth building for the future. And let's see, Eight of Cups, you get shy around them. It's like you want to run away, but you don't. And you're worried that they would want to run away. And Seven of Cups is the classic seeing things through rose-colored glasses. So I feel like you're picking up on this person's energies, okay? So this person has also been wondering about you. People, we are not fools, okay? We are not fools, and I want all of you to really remind yourself of that. Guys can sometimes play us for fools, but we are not fools. And if you're the first one to approach a guy and then they respond with, yeah, but I wasn't thinking that way. Lies. Lies. I'm telling you, lies. Because you don't walk through down a street, you don't walk through your day to day and hallucinate that all the men that you encounter in the grocery store, at your place of work, walking down the street, going through the subway, parking your car, all those men that you walk down the street and you think, oh my God, I'm so hot. Everybody wants me. He wants me, and he wants me, and he wants me too. No, right? You don't do that. So if your senses are telling you there's something here, there's something there. And even if he backs away or he gets shy, don't gaslight yourself. You're not an idiot. Okay. So he has already thought these things about you. Okay? Maybe quickly, maybe they just crossed his mind briefly, but they were there. Emotionally, Page of Cups. He's waiting for some kind of a solid offer. He doesn't want to embarrass himself. He's waiting for a clear opening. Okay. A clear something here. And Judgment. And revival, renewal. He was happy to run into you again. Yeah. Yeah. So here we see your insecurities, the Tower, like feeling very insecure, and the Five of Stones, feeling very insecure. So he registers your insecurity. I'm not quite sure how he interprets that, but he does register it. And but you see that, you're having these thoughts of, hey, hey, hey. So yes, there is definitely potential there. I wouldn't push it, just let it, evolve naturally. But don't be too shy and don't be too scared, okay? Yes, so that's it, you guys, and I am done. I'm fried. I am totally, totally done now. I've said everything I need to say. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. And I will see you next Sunday, same time, same place, same bat channel. And make sure you bookmark this and bookmark the Hypesy link so that if you need me during the week, you can just click on Hypesy and see if I'm online. Every time I'm here working, I'm always online. So sometimes, most times, you can reach me almost immediately when you click on that link. Okay. But you can also use the old one, the equity scheduling one, and go ahead and book your session with me. I'm more than happy to connect with you through that as well. So it's still there. And I hope we see each other soon, and think about the trip to come visit me and come. I am so much fun in person, I promise. And come tour with me over here and get some real healing work done. Yeah, and see your Talk to you soon. Bye.